So hello, everybody. I think we wait another minute as usual for the late arrivals, but just 1 minute before we start. Okay, so hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing really well. My name is Oliver Bertschinger. I'm the Managing Director of the Chamber of Commerce, Switzerland, Central Europe. And I have the pleasure to host this session today together with Malcolm Werchota. I will introduce him later. As you all know, this initiative, we created that about almost 2 years now ago, and it was created that we could transmit inspiring topics for people that are active between Switzerland and the Central Eastern European countries, which includes, you know, everything from Estonia down to Albania, these 17 countries. And I think today is a very good example of something that is truly inspirational. Maybe also some people are a bit afraid of it. Don't really know what to do. So this is why we have Malcolm, who will basically show you guys, you know, what you can do at this stage. And I guess, Malcolm, that it's a positive thing that we should all embrace, actually. So anyway, we are not doing this by ourselves. We are a group of 12 chambers of commerce across the region. You see them here listed, and you can check for your countries, which is your organization. When we do the follow-up, you will receive their links, and please check them out and join their activities. A couple of rules today, as usual. Malcolm will speak about 25 to 30 minutes after this short introduction. If you are basically on mute, you have no video, so use the chat function. If you have any insights, please also say hello. It's always very interesting to see where you guys are from. Say hello. Here is Claudia from, I don't know, Budapest. And anyway, if you have questions, use the F&A button. We will answer those. Malcolm can decide when he wants to answer those. Usually we do it at the end of the session. We will end on time as usual, 12:45. But if there are more questions around, Malcolm and I, we have some time to stay on, but the official part will end at 12:45. You will receive the slides and his contact details of Malcolm and of all chambers of commerce. And you can also watch his session later, like other sessions on our YouTube channel. Our next topics that we're looking at currently, I can't tell you which one it will be. It's kind of like other hot topics like crypto, blockchain. That's a bit old, right? Already, we might have an investment outlook in this difficult year. We might talk about smart cities, the future of mobility, etc. Okay, good. That's it from me. Going back here, let me introduce Malcolm. Malcolm, I think something is notable. Malcolm used to be a board member of our Chamber of Commerce. That's how we met when he was still with Novartis. He's also now, he's a Novartis a business developer turned into a ChatGPT evangelist and operations leader with diverse expertise in energy, healthcare, and AI-driven innovation. He worked for Schlumberger, Novartis, and more, and he's now also, very importantly, a co-founder and CMO and CFO at Coating AI, which is a startup in Barcelona. Maybe you talk a little bit about that, Malcolm, later. He's also now more and more turning into a very sought-after keynote speaker. Of course, he's writing a very hot topic with great experience, actually. And in doing this in Switzerland, he has recently joined forces with 888 Solutions. And there's a link which I want to say. This is actually my company. So because most people don't know that, but I only work 50% for the Chamber of Commerce. So anyway, we have hooked up there also in that field. I'm really looking forward to this collaboration. And he is offering immersion workshops for business, talking about the huge potential of generative AI for businesses. He's Austrian. He also masters in material science from the Mining University of Leoben. And yeah, he has an MBA from ESADE in business school in Barcelona, where he's also going to teach now, I learned just now. So anyway, having said enough, I guess, Malcolm, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Oliver. I feel like Oliver knows me better than my wife. If I would ask my wife to do a bio, she probably won't be able to come up with all of that. So let me share my screen and take you on a ride, rock and roll. So we are going to learn about generative AI. And I myself have attended many, many keynotes where at the end I leave and I'm like, okay, what's in for me? Like, what can I do with this new technology? So I'll give you a short introduction and then I'll give you very concrete business examples that you can leave and go to your marketing department, your R&D department, your sales department and say, hey, Malcolm said we can do it with ChatGPT. Why don't we do it? So we have a poll also because we want to know a bit our crowd, and we will launch this poll and we're trying to understand what is your knowledge of this? Do you use ChatGPT? Don't you use it, etc.? I'm going to really skip the introduction because I think my wonderful friend Oliver said everything there is to say about me. I think one thing that really helped me with this is in the last 5 months, I was rolling out ChatGPT in Novartis in a $200 million business unit in Israel. So when you roll out such a thing company-wide, what happens is that you get a lot of concrete examples. People are like, I'd like to use it, but I have no clue how. This really helped me and my journey to get a bit of understanding of this, right? So I'm going to pause here for a second and kick out this number of 37%. And let's get 2-3 ideas what this number of 37% could mean in the chat. So, okay, are you using ChatGPT or similar AI tool? Yes, that's wonderful. How often are you using it? Every day, 1 time, 3 times, 3 to 10 times? Wow, 30% are using it 3 to 10 times and even more. So actually, when I look at this group, we have a very diverse group and we do indeed have some very big enthusiasts here. So what could this number 37% mean according to generative AI? What do we think? Feel free to write in the chat, unstructured, anything that you think. There's no right or wrong. Okay, since we see that there's reluctance to answer this, I'm just going to give you the answer. So maybe people who use it right now, I like it, Anna, very nice. So let's wait, that's very nice. Maybe people who use it right now, actually the number of people who use it right now is very, 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 very low. Emails, text, I like that. Okay, good. 37% have no clue what they mean. Okay, Agnes. Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. Look at this. 37% is the productivity increase when you use ChatGPT. This came from an MIT study. They took 2 people. They took 2 groups. One group with ChatGPT and one without. And the one with had a 37% productivity increase. Guys, you know what this means? This means that the work that you do normally in 5 days, you now do in 3. It's brutal. And these other 2 days, you can do really value-added things. You can do things which are going to help you in your business. You can do strategy. You can do sales. You can take a step back and analyze your processes and improve them. This is game-changing. Because again, we can roll out different things in the company to get productivity increases. We can roll out the agile methodology. We're going to get 37% productivity, but in 2 years, because we need to train everybody, we need to roll out Jira, we need to do this and that. Instantly, this is what you get. And what's also very powerful is that quality increase. If I write an email, I believe I can write a good email. It can help me with improving it. If somebody who maybe doesn't have such a good education, was not fortunate to have such a good education, uses it, they can get a higher quality increase. If I have to write an email in my basic Russian, it's going to take me an hour. If I write the same email and I write it with ChatGPT in Russian, I will get a huge productivity increase and I get a huge quality increase. So indeed, what I really don't want to do is I don't want to spend too much time advocating for the technology. I want to give you some examples. So let's start with the example of communication here. Let's say I want to reach out to a gentleman that I don't know. I do not know this person. You don't know this person. And we're going to reach out to him and write a high quality email, but a high quality email that's going to touch his heart. So let me give you an example. So this is Francis. I want to write to Francis. Francis is the head of a big consulting company. And I say, hey, who is Francis? This is ChatGPT. And I put the function of web access so he can go and browse. Francis is this, Francis is that. Francis did all of this. Now, you guys can do that. You can do that on Google. It's going to take you a couple of minutes. But the powerful thing, look at this. Please infer the values and behaviors of Francis. I mean, I need to be half of the psychologist to try to infer this. Okay, values and behaviors of Francis. Clearly, he's an innovation person, strong leader. Look, he does that and that. He's customer-centric on, by the way, on the behaviors. He's a very strategic person. He's very strong in communicating. Tack, tack, tack. This, I mean, would take a very long time. And now I say, go and check me out. Go and check Malcolm out and infer my values and behaviors. So I do it with myself to make sure that this thing is not BSing me. And look at this entrepreneurial spirit. Like Oliver says, you know, I'm a co-founder of a startup, but even in big corporate, I like trying out new things, strategic thinking. That's not so important. But now the beauty comes into saying, write an email from Malcolm to Francis, convincing them that they should work together in something that is called ChatGPT, and make sure there's a high overlap in values and behaviors. When you ask ChatGPT, write me an email to that person, it's very generic. If you find out the values and behaviors with ChatGPT and you make an overlap between yours and his, I'm telling you, you get an answer because it is touching his core element of who he is. Francis, my name is Malcolm. I'm doing this. By the way, you are that. Look at this. Our shared values are this. It's even finding shared values between us. I find your work impressive, massaging him. Now he feels great. I get an email where I'm being massaged. And by the way, we should have a collaboration. This was 3 queries. Who is Francis? What are his values and behaviors? Who is Malcolm? What are his values and behaviors? Overlap. This is the call to action. And overlap their values and behaviors. This, on a communication thing, I use it all the time, like 3-4 times a day. Now, we're going to take a one where I say we save 500 to 1,000 Swiss francs. And you're going to be like, what, 500 Swiss francs? That's not even savings. I'm going to show you how powerful that was. So we wrote to a customer in the States and they wrote to us and they're like, we need a W-9 form. So I have a lawyer, and that lawyer, because we are an AI company, costs us 500 euro an hour, okay? And every time we give him homework, it costs, he says, okay, I will do it. It's going to cost you 2-3 hours of my work, but I will do it next week because I'm really busy. Now, what we went into ChatGPT, say, hey, Swiss-based company, we're SaaS, we're selling to a US-based customer. Customer is asking for W-9. Do I need that? Is this applicable? No, Malcolm, it's not. And we read that document. That document is an IRS document, 600 pages long. No human can read it. And it says, Malcolm, no, you're a Swiss-based company. You don't need that. You know what you need? You don't need W8. You need W8 BENE. So now I can go back to my lawyer and be like, hey, wait. Can I have an opinion on that? And an opinion on that costs me 200 Swiss francs, and he can give it to me in the next minute. So instead of waiting to talk to my customer in the US, waiting to get this information, waiting and even not being 100% sure I'm paying 2,000 Swiss francs, I can do it in the next minute and ask my lawyer, give me an opinion on this. This is so cool. And now imagine you guys are doing business in multiple Eastern European countries, where legislation is changing daily because our legislation is changing, it's adapting. We have young economies that are thriving. If you don't have such tools, you're doomed and you wait a very, very long time. So I'm going to give you an example where we were talking about customer acquisition, and a friend of mine was like, man, but you're going to talk to these guys in SEC. Don't you think they want to acquire new customers? I'm like, yeah, let them acquire me. Let me take one example of one of our members, because I was a board member here. I opened the website and I chose one of our random members. So one of our members, a great Hungarian company called Collab IT. And what do? They do software solutions, right? This is my company. It's called Coating AI. And now I could open Bard. So there's ChatGPT and Bard. Bard is like the ChatGPT from Google. I like both. You know, my wife always says, I can see with AIs, you are not monogamous. So I will use any AI that exists. And I'll show you a different one also afterwards. But I use them for different things. Like if you want to do research quickly in the internet, Bard is a bit better. So I can be like, hey, imagine I am the CEO of Collab IT, and I want to get in a contact with a company called Coating AI. Remember, that's my Coating AI company. And I want to offer my consulting services in IT, and I want to tailor it to their needs. Normally, people stop here. They take this first thing and they stop. This is generic, like my 4-year-old daughter can write that. You don't need to be clever to write this. So you need to query it. So what I always advocate when you use generative AI is keep querying, keep querying, keep querying. So what do? I say, look, okay, look, what can I offer them in general that can help? Well, Collab IT can help them with IT strategy, IT infrastructure, IT security. Okay, that's already not so bad. Please go and do the research for me. Find out who is the CEO of Coating AI. Find out what the pain points of the company are, and make a list of these 10 pain points, please. Here you go. And I can confirm that there's a 70 to 80% overlap, because this is my company. So it says, well, look, they could have a security issue, scalability issue, compliance issue. No. Okay, very nice. Now look at this. This is still too much information because we're humans. So I could say, okay, very nice. Make a table. First column, the pain point. Second column, how Collab IT can address this pain point. And the third column, impact score from 1 to 100. And look at this. Here are the same pain points we saw above. This is how Collab IT can address them. And this is an impact score that he believes has an impact on my business. So now I don't need to write to Coating AI and say, I'm doing a billion things, because I can be like, impact score of 90, clearly their performance, I can support, and I can help them with security. And now I can say, based on this, please write an email to the CEO of Coating AI, proposing these options, performance improvement, supporting, and advocating to work together. Now, when we look at this email, it's already more tailored. It's more, you haven't even done any work. You can sit your sales guy and he can come up with like probably 50 new companies a day and very tailored new clients, and what you can offer them without lengthy research and everything. And by the way, you know, it says, hey, you know, we are doing this and that, but for you, we can do A, B, C, D. We believe that it can have a significant impact on Coating AI's business, and we're honored to work together with you. So I'm going to pause for a second because I want to give you a couple of other examples, but just the example of personalized introduction, using it as your lawyer on the side, and then running it as an opinion to your lawyer, and using these tools for customer acquisition in the chat. Can I have a bit of, yes, Malcolm, this is nothing new, I use it all the time, or no, this is quite interesting, or I've never even thought about that. I would like to have a bit of opinion of the crowd on just these 3 examples, and then we move on to the next 3 examples. So write to me in the chat if you're using ChatGPT and Bard in these ways, just yes or no. Okay, 1 no, that's good, very new to me, not yet. Good. I like that I see from time to time a yes. You see, I like that Oliver said yes, that Agi said yes, but there are lots of no's, right? It's more complicated prompts. How often do we use it? Maybe it's more complicated prompts. Yes, I love the fact that you just said more complicated prompts. So more complicated prompts is the following. You know, imagine that ChatGPT is is a child, because that's really what it is. It is, you know, they think it has the intelligence of an Einstein, but it is very naive. So you need to give it guidance. You need to say, I agree with this. I disagree with this. Give me more of that. Wait, this is not good enough. And every iteration, you get a more personalized answer. So should know, but why not? Agnes, I love what you just said. Why not? Often because we just don't know, like, when can I use it? And the point I advocate for when to use it is every single time you just stop to think about something, do the brainstorm with ChatGPT. I'll show you one slide, and then I'll go back to the next examples. Look at this slide. So in my last job in Novartis, I joined a meeting, and then I always asked them that question at the end. I said, have you done the brainstorm with ChatGPT before the meeting? And if the answer was no, I left the meeting. I said, guys, reschedule, go and do your brainstorm, and then we sit down together. Because any idea you have, and you run it by ChatGPT, and you say, please critique this plan. What is missing? What else do you think should be added on this plan? You get so many insights on all the points you've not thought about. And then you could be like, oh, wow. I've got a LinkedIn video, I'll share it with you guys, that I made yesterday, where I got ChatGPT to critique my own sales call. And then it says, Malcolm, you didn't have a clear agenda, you didn't have this, you didn't have that, you didn't have that. But as a human, it's very, very difficult to do these things by yourself, you know? So let's move on and let's look at 2-3 other examples. Do people have the relevant competency to ask the right questions? Ulrich, I love it. Great question, man. Great, great question. So what Oliver was saying a bit is what normally happens in a company, and what we've seen is, let's say you do, and again, I'm not doing sales for my product. I'm just explaining what really works, because I've seen it also with other companies who are doing that. Let's say you do an immersion workshop, which means you sit your entire team together, you close everything for 2 hours, and you get examples from within your company. Then what happens is you put people in separate groups. You say, hey, you are group A, you are group B, group C, you small groups, 4 or 5 people. And they go directly on ChatGPT and they play around with this technology. First of all, they will learn from each other. But secondly, once Malcolm is gone, they will not always call Malcolm and be like, hey, man, what do I do? Because you have different people in your company now who've used it in that workshop, they tend to go to them. So you have a snowball effect. And then you know, hey, Oliver in this company was in that workshop. I remember he did very cool things with him. Let me go and ask Oliver. Or let me go and ask Aggie. Or let me go and ask, I don't know, Andras, because he found out how to do this and this and that. So I do agree that there's an element of snowballing effect that first needs to start. But let me give you a very cool example. This is a bit more advanced, but this is real life. I give you an example. So these are 2 companies, also part of our cool SEC, Swiss HR Academy, and Intelligence. And they got a tender to work for a company called Beijing, because Beijing has an attrition issue. If they don't have an attrition issue, I'm just giving it as an example, right? They forgot about the tender, and they're getting a call from the CEO of Beijing in 5 minutes. $1 million tender. Normally they would be like, I'm sorry, we will pass on this. No, you can. In 5 minutes, you can give him something that's already very concrete. Look at this. You go into ChatGPT and you say, hey, based on the latest investors report of Beijing, what are the top challenges that this company is facing? Look at this. It checks out, based on the latest financial report, all the top challenges. Now, remember, this is an HR issue, attrition, people quitting. Can you infer anything related to people, HR, or attrition? By the way, there's nothing in HR. I read that report. Yes, look, they have rise in R&D and SG&A expenses. So I can imagine that they have a problem with hiring people and attrition. Awesome. Please make a table. 15 ways that I can reduce attrition. The details, 3 bullet points, impact score from 1 to 100, explanation of the impact score. Effort score from 1 to 100, explanation of the effort score. Propose 5 innovative, 5 out of the box, and 5 conservative ways that we can reduce attrition. Look at this, brutal. this obviously virtual reality training program effort score is really high, obviously, but there are many other ways that the effort score is maybe lower, but the impact score is high. Tack, 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 tack. Now, if we wanted to do this with our team, half a day's brainstorm. And then we say, okay, I like this. Now put this in an impact effort matrix, because remember, my call is in 1 minute. Okay, cool, man. Here's all the information you just saw in an impact effort matrix. And you guys know, half a consultant that I am, all the quick wins we all do because they're quick wins, high impact, low effort, high strategic bets, we only do one. So now I could say, I like idea A, 2, and 13. I have 200 days to implement it. Give me a step-by-step about how to execute on it. Zack, week 1, you do this. Week 2, you do that. These are, by the way, the 3 things. No. I could say, I have a team, a consultant, a data analyst. I have a marketer. I have a project manager. Divide the task. I have a secretary. It divide the tasks. You can say, by the way, 2 of them are working remote. 2 of them are working in the office. It divides the tasks differently again. And now when the CEO of Beijing calls in the next minute, oh, I sent you guys a tender. Yes, look, let me open my screen. By the way, we not only identify these things correctly for you, but also how we're going to execute them in the next 200 days. And by the way, this is the team that's going to work on it. It's a bit far-fetched what I say, but how often are you sitting at 10 at night and go like, oh, I forgot to do that, or I need to send this tender, or I need to send this proposal, or my customer asked me for things which you know are going to take you hours. You can reduce these hours into minutes. So I'll show you perplexity, and then I'm going to shut up because I can show you another 10 examples, but I'll just show you perplexity. Perplexity is really nice because what perplexity does, it does the research in the internet. So we could write, imagine I am working for the SEC, okay, Swiss Chamber of Commerce, Swiss Chamber of Commerce, Eastern Europe, and I want to do cool virtual events for them. Please propose 10 and put them in a table. Make sure you use the Copilot, okay? You need to press here and use the Copilot. Now, the nice thing about Perplexity, what none of the others do, is that it queries you back. Like, it doesn't just spit out something. Hey, what are the main themes? Oh yeah, teams. Well, we like technology here, technology, we like networking, we like value added, customer sales, solutions, etc. Anything else? Yeah, our members are everywhere, so let's do it online if possible. Okay, and now look at this cool thing. It's going to be like, okay, I'm reading a response. I'm going to try to understand what the hell you're even talking about. And then it's going to tell you at the same time, it is searching all of these things on different tabs. Okay, we would search that, wait, look, open 50 tabs, next one, do the search, wait, add, open. It opened 39 tabs at the same time. These are 39 individual websites that you can go and check out. And then it summarizes the thing for you. Hey, based on this, by the way, you wanted a table, and now it kicks this out. And again, remember, first iteration is always very generic. So what I always advocate for is then say, I don't know, I like number 1, I like number 3, and I like number 7. Continue on that train of thought and build up on that and find more, and how would you execute, and how much would it cost, and zack. This is crazy. Like you hear it in my voice, you hear it in my passion. Since generative AI exists, I am on steroids. And when I sit down with teams and I inspire them, they leave and they are on steroids. But now I'm really going to stop talking. I think I stretched my 25 minutes. Oliver, I hand back the floor to you.
All right, Malcolm. Thanks a lot. Crazy. I can underline that. So, guys, questions? User cases, feedback, criticism.
Helena also wrote that she struggles with speaking German. On paper, you can prompt everything in the different languages. So, I did a ChatGPT course for Ukrainian refugees, how to write CVs. And they only spoke Ukrainian, So we did it with ChatGPT and we did it with Perplexity, and they were only prompting in Ukrainian. I understand and I agree that English is a bit better for these generative AI tools because they are trained and a bigger subset in a language. But when I was in Israel, it works very well on Hebrew, so you can prompt in whatever language you want, normally. Do you have to pay for an AI search engine? ChatGPT version 3.5 is free. Perplexity is free. Bard is free. If you want ChatGPT with internet access, it's 20 euro a month. But 20 euro a month is, if Oliver and I drink one beer on the Paradeplatz, we will pay more than 20 euro a month. So it's really nothing. Your Netflix subscription is 20 euro a month, and you don't go 10 times a day. Sorry, I'm shocked, somehow understood only the surface. I'm glad that you're shocked, because what I showed you is only the surface. I sit down with companies and they do crazy things with these things. Often it is just that inspiration which is missing to try to understand. Which ChatGPT app would you try to recommend at first for not technical people? For sure, ChatGPT, because it has been launched the earliest, and since it's been launched the earliest, it's been trained the longest versus its peers. Therefore, I propose you go on ChatGPT, OpenAI, you make an account and you just start playing around with it. I'll give you another example, very simple. Saturday morning is my worst day in the morning. I wake up, my kids are a pain in the, this is on YouTube. My kids are very nice, making lots of drama. You know what I do? I take ChatGPT, I press on record, I say, in the fridge, I have that. In the pantry, I have this. Make me a proposal of 3 recipes that I can do for my kids. And then it proposes, oh, you have raisins, you can make Peppa Pig pancakes, by the way, and you can put that and that on top, and fruit, so it's healthy. Awesome.
Okay, guys, maybe I can try to put your question not in the chat, but in the question and answer, then we get a better overview. So it's much. So Malcolm, where do we start? So
no, I can see the questions in the chat. That's fine. I can see, for example, do you see any barriers to using generative AI, such as Mid-Journey in real campaigns? You are allowed to. You are allowed to. So one of the issues I had with a smaller company is that they said, man, I'm always paying for the rights of pictures, but many of the products that are generative AI images, you have the commercial rights to it. If you pay a subscription model, it's going to be written for some of the platforms. I don't want to name their name because I don't want to do advertisement. It says the images generated are yours. You can use them for commercial purposes. And companies are doing it. Instead of doing photo shoots, they just do it with Mid-Journey, or they do it with other generative AI tools. Up to date, are these tools up to date? Yes. So Bard is up to date. ChatGPT, when you have the internet access, when you pay the 20 euro a month, it's up to date because it's been trained with 2019, but the new model with internet access is up to date. It's been trained with current data. Yes, you can ask Bard right away, what was the score of football games yesterday in Colombia? It's going to kick it all out. Great presentation. Anyway, ChatGPT is used in pharma research, as you mentioned in Novartis. Yes, my wonderful friend, ping me on LinkedIn. Let's have a separate call because I don't want to divulge too much. And I'm happy to explain a bit on a more generic term how this works a bit. Is it better to use specific AI for different problems, or ChatGPT covers them? No, specific AI for different problems. As I said, you need to play around with the different AIs. Bing AI, I haven't brought it up. Bing AI is also pretty cool. I really like it because Bing AI is now being fed by ChatGPT. But the problem I have with Bing AI is it's been simplified too much. So you can get much, much more from ChatGPT and brainstorming with ChatGPT himself or herself. We don't know if the AI is a female or male. How do you evaluate the quality of the answer of the German language? Grammatic style. Do you think to double check as a native speaker would be necessary? I am Austrian. I have studied in Austria, and my German is still a catastrophe, and I have my German checked by ChatGPT. So I think you don't need to have it double checked. There will be 1-2 mistakes, but it's still very, very powerful. How reliable and accurate is the information provided? Maybe the last question that we answer. Obviously, like every single input you get from anybody, take a time to reflect. thing to look, to analyze. Even if I pay my wonderful buddies at BCG to come and do an entire project with me, even their output, I need to sit down and double check and understand if it makes sense. So don't take any input from ChatGPT and throw it out to your customer in the next second. Take if you've got, like in pharma and banking, strong legal and compliance procedures, then follow them. This is a generative AI output, run it by your legal and compliance outputs. If you're more of a startup, still sit down, double check it, read it quickly. And you know what you can do? I'll give you a tip. This one actually came because Microsoft presented at the board of Novartis and they gave them that tip. You take the input, you make a new tab, and you say, is this true? Because a new tab is a totally new session. And then ChatGPT himself will tell you, yes, this is true, or no, this is not true.
Maybe I can add something here. I did a table with Bart regarding a comparison, and we talked about Collab IT and iTalents, etc. for these companies which we represent at SEC. And anyhow, I told them, give me this and that, you know, numbers of employees and revenues and what are the specialty, what the technology they're using, etc. And the answers were wrong, completely wrong. But it was instantly visible. It gave me a beautiful table with data in it, but it was not correct. But I probably inputted it wrongly. So that is why you also need to learn how to use it and work and drill down, and probably you can basically do it. But I learned to be a bit cautious, mostly with stuff that you don't see very, very quickly. So be cautious as well, I guess. But Malcolm, over to you again.
No, I fully agree. I'm glad that you double checked it. Obviously, it's I think it's not the solution, but it is a productivity improver, and it doesn't stop. You know, I can give you so many examples. I mean, you know, there's one which is really powerful. Do we still have 2 minutes? Then I'll show you guys real magic. Okay, cool. Look at this one. This one is so cool. So we had the problem that we were sitting down. Let me share my screen again. There we go. Okay, so this is the Fourier effect, you see. Look at this. So, wait, sorry. Let's take this here. Okay. So we had the problem that we needed to do marketing assets. Okay, so what you see here, these are videos. Okay, this is a 20-minute deep dive. This is a 10-minute deep dive. This is a 1-minute deep dive of the solution. And we got a quote, I mean, ridiculous, like 8,000, 9,000 Swiss francs to do this stuff for us. So I sat my CEO down and I made him record for 1 hour about our solution. This is this is that, this is this. These are the problems. These are the customers. This is what 1 hour talk. And I put it in a PDF, and with a plugin called Ask Your PDF, I said, hey, now go and analyze a super unstructured text, 1 hour talking, and make a script for a 1-minute video. And it kicks out the scripts. This, that, cut to this, animation of that, do this. I said, okay, cool, that's cool. Can you make a 5-minute script with more information? Here's a 5-minute script. Here's this, here's that, here's this. Awesome. We need to make some slides. Can you make some slides and explain how you would structure these slides? For sure. Slide 1, you would do this. This is the explanation. Slide 2, you would do that. That's the explanation. Wow, awesome. Can you now write me the exact script for that slide? Hey, presenter. And the only thing we needed to do, sit down, closed room, half a day, do the slides and read the scripts and produce these videos. It was crazy how we got such high input. And the point is, again, on the productivity increases, I can do this now in the morning, sit down with my team, film it in the afternoon and produce it in the evening. But if I go to an agency, until I get a quote will take a couple of hours. It will take a couple of days until they answer. Then it goes back. Then if I want them to make a change, it's going to cost me another couple of 100 Swiss francs. This, and you can see, look at this thread. I am at a third of the thread. I can continue because we squeezed so much out of this 1 hour of our CEO talking, the videos, the slides. We did some actual customer engagement ideas. We said, okay, this is the customer. How would you speak to him? What would you do? Nuts.
That's crazy. So we have, what else you got? Balazs. Okay, good. I have a question for safety. Yeah, a little bit about this question, right? A lot of people are saying, when my wife's a lawyer, she might be online here. I don't know. Hello, Claudia. but anyway, of course, if she's using, for example, even simple stuff like DeepL, or whatever, there's this notion of you need to individualize it or take out names and watch out, and there's a paid version of DeepL. And the same thing is of course true for like these closed information or open IA solutions, and etc. So can you maybe elaborate a little bit on if there's really let's say a data secrecy problem for companies if they set it up in the right way with ChatGPT?
Yes. I love it. So for sure, this is an issue. So, and you will see on these examples that I showed you, apart from my CEO talking and putting that inside, all the rest was query only. So query only means what is, you're not putting stuff inside. He already knows most of the things. So I ask it, I say, I am this company. Tell me about my company. I haven't put any information inside. This is the customer. Tell me about the customer. I haven't put any information inside. I've just told him to go and do the research for me. And the way I got a very, very quick, adoption curve in my department when I started to roll this out, when I was talking always to legal and compliance, is I said, we're not putting anything inside. Yeah, but the medication, I'm like, what are you talking about? I can type in, what is that and that medication from that and that company? It's going to tell me. What do you know about it? What are the side effects? What is this? What is the latest presentation of their data? I am not putting any data inside. So there's a reluctance from many companies to use it because they don't know how their employees will use it. But often if you just sit down and you give them an initial session and you explain, look, don't put company data, use query only. With query only, you can achieve already so much. It's brutal. We got a very nice question from Dorota. Dorota is right. You can use ChatGPT to analyze your traffic and your company and your website or your LinkedIn profile. So you can, for example, put your website into ChatGPT and say, you are a renowned web developer and designer, critique this website. And then it says, this is missing, that is missing, etc. I did it for my own LinkedIn. And then it says, Malcolm, you're not posting regularly. Sometimes you're posting videos, sometimes you're posting text, there's too much mess, etc. It was very cool, So I like that comment that just came out. For last time, I spent hours if it was possible to scan PDFs with them. Yes, you can scan PDFs with them and you can. So, I mean, it's really learning by doing. Andras, it's like at the time when people when Google came out, it took a certain amount of time that people learned how to Google. Because the only way to learn how to Google was to just sit down and Google. Maybe used to write long sentences, too short texts. So learning by doing, sit down, try to replicate, for example, the things I showed you. It's on YouTube, so you can rewatch it. Try to play around with it, etc. But it's really learning by doing with these technologies.
Okay, maybe Malcolm, we will continue. As usual, sir. I try to end
Sure.
a quarter to 12. I mean, this is more symbolic because I think a lot of people will actually stay on. From my side, again, I'm very happy that Malcolm and I, we try to a bit work together with AAA Solutions. And
Yes,
the
sir.
reason we actually do this, if I may do a little advertising here for once, is because on on the side I'm training work productivity. So I teach, you know, what are like the pillars that, you know, drive work productivity. And work productivity means also how you can become more productive in private life and in professional life. So these are things like your mindset, your physical performance level. It's about how do I do the right things and how do I do things right. So these are like the 4 levels. And of course, when I learned about ChatGPT, for me, this was a huge game changer for work productivity. You know, I talked about how you can do email quicker and how can you use Microsoft Office better, etc. If you look into technology, but ChatGPT, as Malcolm was showing, the 37% work productivity increase is huge. And this is why I got interested, and we try to put like the 2 worlds together. And so if you're basically interested to I don't know, use this or get workshops, etc. We will send everything like his data. We will also, this was a question, by the way, we will also send you a couple of links of the tools that Malcolm has mentioned today. We put that in the email. And so thanks a lot for your time. We will see us again in July, if not in August for the next session. Thanks a lot to everybody. But now, Malcolm, over to you to the next questions.
Okay, awesome. Good. So Carolina asked, hey, AI and empathy. Okay, I'll show you a trick. AI is today more empathetic than I am, for sure. Look at this. So we were doing this with a buddy where we're like, oh man, I need to write to this guy. He's so complicated and I really don't know how to write to him. You guys know MBTI. I know he's an ENTJ, very strong ENTJ guy. And the only thing I said is I said, please rewrite this email for an ENTJ. Then we opened another profile from another person, also relatively difficult customer. And we just said, analyze this person and predict their MBTI. Predicted the MBTI, it was not ENTJ, it was very different. Rewrite the email for a no. So when you say empathetic, AI and generative AI is already much more empathetic than we are, because it uses so many other ways to analyze you, to look at your customer, etc. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. You see, MS John is like, thank you, it was more than enough. I'm overwhelmed. Good. Where should you learn to use AI? Yeah, as I said, that question was answered. It's you need to just learning by doing, you know.
Good. We got what about Malcolm? One question. Now, I was, again, probably every workshop you attend currently is about AI. So that is amazing. At the end, even if you meet private people, you always talk about AI and how you can use it. And I wonder, now, if you look into what's happening in the world on the political front, really taking it up a notch, and you can't use ChatGPT now to get the answer. But
okay, I'll try.
if you're in fact, we talk about these fake news, right?
Yes,
so there's a lot of studies that would underline that actually populism is based on people just being overwhelmed with information. They don't have those models anymore. They live in information silos. They hear what they want to hear, and this is why we actually basically cannot. Which communication, that's the other thing. If people communicate, most of it is miscommunication. That comes from the communication side. So people don't understand each other anymore, and the basic notion behind that is because you can trust the source of information anymore. So lots of people would say, you know, take Trump as an example and etc. with this fake news. And now you have these powerful tools, including imagery, text, etc. How do you feel that this has a, a risk to drive societies away and people away from each other in a way that we just don't know anymore what is real?
Yes, I love it. Actually, it's funny that you say so, because I discussed this point with a lot of people lately, and one of the answers I got was from our neighbor, like, I don't know, like a 75, 76-year-old lady. And I was like, she has no clue about AI. Like, what are we even talking about? And she said to me in a very interesting way, she said, actually, what's happening now kind of happened to us 50 years ago. So I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? And she said, already when, like color movies started coming out, you looked at them and then you were not sure, is this a real thing? Is this a stunt? Then she said, like she called it, these animations. I mean, today, when you look at the Matrix, you're also not quite sure, is it real, is it not? But I think as humans, even though ChatGPT and generative AI is very clever, we're extremely resilient. We're extremely good at adapting. And as I said, one of the nice things is when I show even my 4 or 5-year-old daughter a picture which is often generated by generative AI and a real picture, she can mostly say, I believe this one is more a real one and this is more of a fake one. So I think it's a technological jump, but as human beings, we start to embed this in our understanding and we start to filter it. Yes, there will be malicious ways that people are going to use it, but I can refer you to a podcast from Mark Zuckerberg, which just came out a week ago, where he said there were always these bots of disinformation and we were working against it. And now there will be AIs of disinformation and we will build better AIs that are going to find these AIs of disinformation. He said at the end of the day, it's a matter of cost. Who puts in more money to find the next AI, to stop the next AI from doing disinformation? And I think companies like Facebook, like Google are very, very, very good at it. Even OpenAI, they're very good at building AIs that are not dangerous. You cannot go and ask him, hey, how can I rob a bank? He will not give you the answer. There are other AIs that do that, but ChatGPT, Bard, and these publicly available don't do that. So I do not see it as such a big concern. I appreciate the question, but I do not see it as such a big concern.
Okay, cool. Cool. So last questions of you guys. So Malcolm, so I think this was indeed a very interactive section. Thanks a lot for all your input. And I think the fun with ChatGPT when you start using it is actually trying to find better and other way how you can use it and work with it. And I guess maybe one last sentence about the importance of artificial intelligence. There was in Switzerland, there was a study, by the way, for the people from Central Eastern Europe. It's a study that is called SME barometer, where you measure the weather, from NZZ, the most important newspaper in Switzerland. And last year they said that Switzerland's 620 C-level guys that answered it, the question was, where do we want to do more in the future regarding exports and regarding sourcing? And for both, they said Central Europe. So it was a very, very strong indication on that front that geographically Switzerland's CEOs are really looking into the Central Eastern European region. And this was done for the Swiss Economic Forum, which is the second most important economic forum behind the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. And I mentioned this because this year, the new one came out a week ago, and I saw it yesterday. And there was one query which doesn't surprise us, because they were asking, how do you see the importance of artificial intelligence for your companies? And 60% of the CEOs did say that because of artificial intelligence, in the near future, they will have to rethink their business model.
Wow.
And that is 60% of Switzerland CEOs. And I do think that is just showing that we need to rethink, Malcolm, you said that we need to adapt to this technology, and we need to think about how can we use it personally and how can we use it as organizations. And I think this is what we have to do. It's coming. You know, I heard Italy was basically saying, you know, we're not allowing artificial intelligence. I'm not sure if this is true, Malcolm, but the kind of government, the government was blocking it. I don't think that is an option. And so we need to deal with it. And let's all try to gain personally and with whatever we're doing on our daily business, and get us free space, for more time for things that really matter to us. And I think with that wish, I would like to wish you a great launch. We will send you everything by email. Watch it again on YouTube. And thanks a lot, Malcolm, for your inspiring speech, and for everybody that you have been here. Thanks a lot.
Take care, Oliver, and take care,
Bye-bye.
everybody.